So today's an off day, and there's no game today. And the wild card game, American League, is Yankees Boston tomorrow in Fenway, and then the following day, it's going to be the Dodgers and the Cardinals on Wednesday. And then the winner of obviously the Yankees Red Sox will play Tampa, and the winner of the Dodgers Cardinals looks like is going to play the San Francisco Giants. So some big playoff baseball coming. You got Houston playing Chicago White Sox. And then you have in the National League, the Braves playing the Milwaukee Brewers. So some new teams and some the usual teams. So it's going to be good playoff baseball. I'm really looking forward to it. But talking about the Yankees, so it looks like we have Gerrit Cole, I think, going against Nathan Eovaldi. Chris Sale pitched yesterday, so they don't have to face him, and which is nice. And Cole will have his extra day rest, and I will not having to play this 163rd game. And with Boston, had Boston lost, they would have had to play Toronto for 106 for the game 163, and then the winner of that would have played the Yankees. But thankfully, Toronto had a great year. They had a great run, and they're going to be a good team for a long time. And I expect them to be aggressive this offseason, free agency and trades, and they're going to get better. And I think the other teams in America are going to get better too. Boston, and I think the Yankees have to get better. But speaking of this one game, wild card, the Yankees are going to have all hands on deck, obviously. The good thing about yesterday's game is they didn't use Mike King. They didn't use Luis Severino. So Gerrit Cole goes, 5-6 innings. They could bring in Severino. They could bring in King. So they wouldn't have to use 6-7 guys, which is a good thing. And fresh arms. So and with the extra day off tomorrow, arms are going to be even more fresh. So, we'll have the right guys behind Gerrit Cole. But that said, the bats are going to have to jump all over Boston's pitching like they did against Nathan Eovaldi, and I think that's who they're facing. They have to jump all over him again. And he's going to make adjustments, so they're going to have to be patient. They're going to have to swing at stuff that's in or near the strike zone and avoid stuff that's not strikes. So the way that Tampa and Toronto have done this year, they have to be aggressive, and they got to jump on the Boston pitchers early and fast and give Gerrit Cole a lead. He clearly pitches better with a lead, especially with the Yankees. So that's obvious. So they have to give him a lead early in the game. And other things, so DJ's out now, and he might be out for the rest of the year. But at the earliest, I think if the Yankees make the ALCS, then he might be eligible. He's on a 10-day IL. Luke Voit's been shut down for the rest of the season. I personally think that's probably the last game he's played as a Yankee. I think they're either going to DFA him, designate him for assignment, or trade him and see what they can get for him. They're not going to get much right at this point. His trade value is low. They could have gotten a haul for him last offseason after he led the major leagues in home runs, but that's in the past. So no point in harping on that. So they might DFA him, and I'm really curious to see, and I mentioned this recently, I think there's a good chance they might let Rizzo walk and move DJ to first, because after the season he's got to get, I think it's groin surgery, or he's got a sports hernia, so his mobility is going to be less than it was before, so moving him to first base makes him a little bit less vulnerable to having to move left and right a lot, like you would at third base or second base. So it makes more sense to bring him to first base, and then, if they don't move Torres, play him at second, and then you have Gio at either short or third, and then if Gio's at short, you bring in somebody for third. If Gio's at third, you bring in a stopgap for shortstop or something like that, or one of the Oswald Peraza or something like that. Something's going to happen this offseason, either at first base or first base and shortstop. So I'd be on the lookout for those things. But I think Luke Voit is done as a Yankee, unfortunately. I also think Clint Frazier and Miguel Andujar are done as Yankees as well. Unfortunately, I think they're going to get moved, and it hasn't panned out, unfortunately, with injuries and stuff. And I don't know if Aaron Hicks, we'll see what Aaron Hicks does. I know Hicks is Cashman's a Hicks guy, so he likes Hicks. He's already alluded to the fact he wants him to be a center fielder next year. I know he's a Gardner guy too, but I have a feeling they'll let Gardner walk and say thank you, and for a wonderful 15 years as a Yankee. And but some changes are coming, but right now it's going to have to be all hands on deck. And they did call up Luis Hill to replace DJ LeMahieu. And I would expect DJ to not be back. So I would start making the plans. Evander Velasquez and Brignan Odor. Give them a little bit more playing time. They play better when they're playing regularly. And Odor had a key hit today in the ninth inning, and then he was pinch hit for Wade, and then Rizzo drove him over, and then he scored the winning run. So And it's really, really hard to get Tyler Wade out, so I'd be utilizing him quite a bit, not only as a pinch runner, but here and there, either as a defensive replacement as well, or play him too. He's fast, he's athletic, he disrupts things on the base paths. So take advantage of that. Take advantage of that. Use him on this wild card game. And Gerrit Cole's gonna have this. This is the most important game, I think, the biggest game of Gerrit Cole's Yankee career. So hopefully he comes up aces, and hopefully our guys back him up and give him run support on the offensive end, and the bullpen give him the support he needs. If he leaves with a lead, we keep the lead, and we shut down Boston and prep for Tampa Bay, because that's who we would be playing if we beat Boston. So, and by beating Boston, we'll start building a little bit of momentum. So, right, and we'd be going to Tampa for the first 2 games, and back to Yankee Stadium for 2, and then back to Tampa for the 5th game if it goes to 5. So, if they win one, if they split in Tampa, I feel pretty good. And personally, I think if they beat Tampa somehow, which is going to be a monumental task, and this is the only scenario where I see them getting in the World Series, if they beat Tampa. So, and that's the team. That's the team, and who knows? I don't care who they would play at that point, but if they win the wild card game, which is, let's focus on that now, and they get off to a decent start in the American League Division Series of the ALDS, I think they have a decent shot, but Tampa is going to be really, really hard to beat. So, and Cole will not be pitching game 1. He probably won't be available until game 4. So, they're going to have to be pretty efficient with their pitching. And thankfully, Jameson Taillon's looking a little bit better. So, we got him too. And then we have Luis Hill. We have some fresh arms there. And, and long relief guys too. So, but, Tuesday is obviously the biggest game of the Yankee season. Bigger than today. Yesterday, I should say. And, but I do think they have a good chance of winning. It's in Fenway, and the reason why it's in Fenway is because head-to-head this season, Boston has a better record against the Yankees than the other way around. That's why. So, and that's playoff baseball. That's the way it is. Those are the rules. And but the Yankees have a good shot at beating the Red Sox. But again, they're going to have to jump on their pitchers early. Do not get in these situations where they do not leave 20 guys on base. Do not start swinging at stuff that's 5 feet off the plate. We need our hitters to come through. We need Gallo. We need Stanton. We need Judge, and who was money the other night with the game-winning RBI. So to put us here. So thank you, Aaron Judge. And but all hands have to be on deck here. Okay, and it's got to be that way. So just wanted to go over that and just talk about this a little bit. And you let me know what you think. I mean, how do you feel about the Yankees' chances? And if they do win the wild card, do any of you think they have a chance of beating Tampa? I know it's going to be a monumental task, but if they get that far and split the first 2 games, then I do think they have a chance. But again, you saw how Tampa beat them 2 out of 3 at Yankee Stadium, and they pounded the Yankees. So I mean, they're going to have to neutralize guys like Kiermaier and Lau and the Rosarena and like a lot of them, because they have a ridiculous lineup. They're going to have to figure out a way to slow down Wander Franco, too. That kid's unbelievable. 20-year-old stud. Absolute stud. So they're going to have to neutralize these guys. Just like in Boston, they're going to have to neutralize Rafael Devers, who hit 2 home runs to put the Red Sox over the Nationals. So they got to neutralize him. They got to neutralize J.D. Martinez, who's had a resurgence season. They got to neutralize a lot of guys, too. So it's going to be a big one. But I have faith in the guys. So let's get this going. Let's beat the Red Sox, and let's head over to Tampa. Go Yankees.